Hey y'all, so it is Big Hive inspection day today. I am behind on my hive inspections. I know some of you guys like the bee videos, and I feel like they're getting a little bit more attention than they used to, but I think it's fun for me, at least, to film these. I can go back and look. It is something that I can go back and look on over weeks, over months, and things like that, and see how my hive is progressing. So it really helps me out a lot, and and understand there's been a lot of bee videos out lately, but springtime is bee time, and so I have to manage them a lot during the spring, and so that's why you see a lot of bee videos. This hive swarmed on me. You guys will see, trying to point backwards in the camera, this hive over here, this purple one that's underneath the hanging baskets, they swarmed from this hive, and they are going gangbusters over there. And I'm actually, once I finish this inspection, I'm getting ready to paint a medium box and stick it on top of that one with 10 new frames in it, because that's how they are about to explode. Every frame in that 10 deep over there is just packed with capped larvae, capped brood. And each frame, if it's kind of wall to wall, holds about 3,500 bees, and that's on one side-ish, give or take a little bit. So those bees should be emerging here in the next 5 days or so. And so that hive is going to absolutely double in size almost overnight. So I need to get that medium painted and put on top of that hive. Hopefully I can get to it today, but if not, I'll certainly get to it tomorrow. Bees don't really wait on you, so you have to take the opportunity to do things when you can and when you think the bees need it before they do something crazy like swarm on you or abscond or something like that. So let me get my gloves on. It's overcast today, so I'm gonna guess that they're not gonna be super friendly. That's just kind of how it goes. Oh my gosh. I put these on. Oh, my hands are so sweaty right now because it's so sticky. I put these on so that when I get in there, if I need to grab and mark the queen, I have so much more control doing that with these nitrile gloves. I'm gonna go inside for a second actually and cool off a little bit so that I can get these gloves on my hand, and then we'll get my smoker started and we'll get this top box off. I didn't think about the supports for my plants that are right on the other side of this hive. I usually prop one of my boxes up on the edge of this bed, but I can't do that now. Lesson learned for next year. I'll put that in my notes that I won't plant anything tall right here. Last year I planted a alyssum and it worked out perfect. I could still set it on the edge of the bed and it didn't get in any ways in my way or anything like that. So yeah, let me go get my gloves on and then I'll be right back. Someone asked me in a previous video about the smoker. They didn't know what it was. They didn't know if something was lit on the inside of it or if it was actual smoke coming out. So thought I would mention that. Sometimes I forget that to explain the basic thing. So this is a smoker. This is a wine cork that I have just modified for when I'm done with my smoker. I could stick that on it. It smothers it out, and I'm still able to keep a little bit of the smoker fuel that I put in there prior for the next round. So it just helps with waste. In case I find the queen, I won't go do some crazy inspection. All I want to make sure is that I see all stages, eggs, larvae, capped brood. This hive should have a mated queen. If this hive does not have a mated queen during this inspection, I will be ordering one ASAP to introduce to this colony. But based on the things that I see in this colony, I really think that they do have a mated queen. There were 3 virgins in there the last time I inspected this hive, and they probably fought till the death. And as long as one of those 3 took their mating flights and got mated, then we should be in business. If that one that killed off the other 2 did not make it back from her mating flight, which is a definite possibility, it happens all the time, then this hive will be hopelessly queenless because they don't have eggs. So I expect to find eggs, larvae, and captive brood in this hive, but we shall see when we get in there. Somebody also asked what smoker fuel I use. I use rolled up burlap, and then I stick some leaves and things on top of it once I get it going really well, so that I can ensure that the smoke is thick and cool. I don't know that, you know, if you check your temperature of your smoker and your smoke, if it's like, I don't know if the leaves are necessary, but one of my bee friends taught me that. And so that is just kind of my preferred method, just because it's what I've always done, really. Like this, I can't even feel it. If I didn't know that I was blowing smoke on my hand, I wouldn't be able to feel it because it's cool. Smoked them a little bit at the entrance. I'm gonna get this roof off, and I'm gonna get this honey super moved over there somewhere. I'm also going to be playing around with some things on my queen excluder based on just kind of my hive swarming and then not having a lot of activity up here. So I'll be playing around with that. And I think I'm gonna take the queen excluder off to really get them going. They completely have drawn this thing out as far as wax goes, but they just really haven't done anything else with it after they drew out wax and then they swarmed for obvious reasons. So what I'll do is I'll take my queen excluder off, get them up there. Sometimes people call queen excluders honey excluders. And as a newbie, I definitely just like didn't want to take the chance of, you know, my queen laying up in the super. But, you know, the more I start to kind of understand how things work and learn a few more things, I think I pay close enough attention to these hives that it'll be okay. Yeah, just you can see here, let me adjust my camera really quick. You can see here how I don't have very many bees above the queen excluder, but there's a ton of bees here on the honey frames, the honey super right below it. So we're just going to set that over here to the side. I'm going to get my Flow Hive Super Lifter on here, which is more difficult than it should be because I use it a little bit differently because I don't have the required space behind my hive that they suggest, so makes it a little bit more difficult, but it's definitely doable. I kind of just use it in the reverse fashion, which works pretty well. I'm gonna go through this box last. I'll be able to see any evidence if the queen is laying in this honey super. On the bottom here. Guess that's not a good place for my smoker, is it? Right in front of the camera. Hopefully we find some good things in here. It still looks like a very full box, which I think would be very different if there wasn't a mated queen in here. I grabbed my other hive tool here because I think for me, getting out these first frames, it can be so tight. It's easier for me to use a double hive tool to kind of get one side up. And they get the first frame out. Tons of pollen here. Queens, would be very odd of her to be on this frame, but I like to double check. Lots of pollen. Looks good there. This hive tool, don't expect to need it anymore. For an overcast and cloudy day, they are much more calm than I expected them to be. Somebody asked why I why I puff smoke on the corners of the frames, and that is because when I'm going to get these frames out, there's usually lots of bees here on the corner, and it makes it easier for me to get my fingers in here without squishing any bees. Okay, we've got a mated queen. Here she is. That was quick. Let's see if she's gonna go over to the other side of this frame. Ooh, she looks good. Okay, so she is right here. I'm smoking myself out here. She is right there. She's pretty. I could tell immediately that I had a mated queen because I could see drone larvae, uncapped drone larvae. They are very white and grub-like. They look very healthy, and I'm happy with her. She looks really good. She looks just like the other queen that I had in this hive that swarmed. So happy about that. Let's see. I do hate when I find the queen on like the very first frames, just because I have to decide what I want to do with her. And I really also want to see if I can get a queen laying an egg for you guys. I've seen it a couple times, but I don't see it very often. Okay, well, she's on this side right now, so I'm going to put this back in the hive here. And I'm going to continue on. I've got to get all of this propolis off my gloves at some point. It makes it hard for me to handle things because everything is just so sticky. At this point, I'm just kind of looking at her laying pattern, and it looks like to me a little bit spotty. However, I can see that some have hatched, and that those that have hatched are actually backfilled with eggs or larvae already. So I'll keep an eye on this brood pattern, but ultimately I think it will end up being okay. And now I'm starting to see that typical overcast and cloudy day B response. You can probably see them flying around my veil a little bit, hovering around my face. Ooh, I forgot that this is a new foundation comb. So I gave them an empty frame, and this is perfectly new foundation. I just started to tilt it, and then I thought, oh shoot, this is new foundation. I forgot that I put three empty frames in here when I did that 3-frame split, and they have already almost drawn out that entire frame of comb. This is an old frame. Bees don't like when you blow on them, but I need to move them out of the way, and that's the easiest way to do it. So those larvae look good. They're plump, they're shiny, they're white. They have royal jelly in them. They look really good. Yeah, they are not happy with me right now. I don't know if you can see it on this video, but they are really in my grill. Again, I won't be able to make an assumption about their temperament, really just until all of the newbies from this queen start to hatch. And it's hard to make an assumption when you are doing an inspection on a cloudy day. This is also a brand new foundationless frame that I put in. I see eggs in here. Does look a little bit spotty, but again, it's so hard to see on brand new comb. So we'll check some of these other frames where it'll be a little bit easier to see. This colony is very well propelized. They do a good job. They've also been in here for 2 years. And, oh, okay, I just let a bunch of small hive beetles go that were kind of in this propolis trap that were over here on the corner. So I'll have to find those. Again, new frame. Don't see any eggs in here either. There's the third frame in. Nothing in this frame either. Maybe she hasn't made it over to this side yet. I saw a lot of eggs that were not in what has already kind of been. Let me see if I can find these hive beetles real quick. They'll take care of them. They're a big enough colony. I did get one of them. I think there was like 3 of them. So we'll put this frame back in. This one went next. This bee is pissed. I'll do my best not to crush any bees. So much easier said than done. That's why I move pretty slow. Also, I'm still a new beekeeper. I'm gonna pull this frame back out, see if I can't find the queen. One more time. I wanna kind of make sure she's not on the sidewall as I scoop this last frame that I have over here in. I got her, I see her. I would really like for her to go over to the other side. So one pro to allowing them to build their own foundation is that they can build drone cells where they want them. It's typically closer to the outside of the boxes, either side. But one disadvantage is it's harder to control mites. So they sell drone frames, which is typically the cell size is a little bit bigger, so the queen will lay drones in those cells. And in the height of the summer, and at times where you know, mite loads can be really high, you can literally just take that drone comb and you can toss it. You can freeze it, you can feed it to your chickens, you could do whatever, and that will drastically reduce your mite load, because mites really like to reproduce in drone cells because they are capped, and they take 26 days to hatch. So they have a longer time to reproduce in drone comb. She's a really pretty queen and she looks really good. Okay, so I have her in this queen marker. And what I will do is, well, first of all, one of my rookie beekeeping mistakes was that I bought black nitrile gloves. They do not like dark colors typically. They react more to dark colors. And so I'm gonna get some different colors next time I run out of these. I just don't want to waste them. So that was a not very smart move on my part, but lesson learned. This also ensures that I don't squish her when I put her back in here. Okay, so I'm going to take her over here. They're just pelting my hands. Okay, I got her marked, so I'm gonna set her back down. I get nervous when I do that. I think that's probably pretty normal, but it does make me nervous. I left the clip down so that that blue will dry. We'll see how hygienic this hive is. It can be very, easy for them to get this paint off of her if they want to, if they're super hygienic. But you can see her in here, you can see her blue dot. And here in just a second, I'll let her back down into this hive. Okay, she's marked. And she's sitting here. And I should probably I literally, she's kind of cleaning herself there. And they're not immediately trying to take that blue dot off of her, so I'm kind of surprised there. But got her marked. Blue means she's a 2025 queen. And she's definitely giving her legs some rubs. She was like, what the heck did you just do to me? But she will certainly be easier to spot. Now, even though I do like training my eye to see an unmarked queen, I do want to keep track of queens' temperaments and their age as I start getting, you know, more hives and things like that. So it's very beneficial, especially when you live in an urban area. You want to make sure that you constantly have a queen that is nice. So I'll be very interested to get back in this hive here in a little bit next week and see what their temperament is. These aren't her bees, to be honest with you. You know, there's probably a handful of these bees, you know, 1,000 or so that maybe are hers, but the rest of them are from that original hive from a totally different queen. Well, she seems to be very hygienic. They aren't trying to take that spot off of her, which is something that you usually see, but it's very interesting. There one goes. You see it working on the top there. That's why you want to let it dry before you put them back in there. Also, it's very important to just mark her on her abdomen, not to get it on her eyes or anything like that. And I'll keep filming this until she kind of goes down into the hive, because I'm not going to close this hive, this top part up, until she goes down into the hive. This is kind of cool. Right here, that is a small hive beetle that they've propolized. All right, there she's going. All right, y'all, so my inspection's done here. I'm gonna put this hive back together. The queen's in safe, she's marked, and I'm gonna take the queen excluder off for the Flow Hive Super and see what that gets me. So that is all for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.